Good morning and welcome to the morning break. It is Tuesday, November 4th. Good to have you here. I'm grinning because if you could see behind the scenes today, I sent the wrong link to our guest. I had to go like, hey, listen, that's not where we're at. That was awesome. And then just as I started, everything died. Definitely need some coffee. Hey, listen, I want to thank everybody for watching yesterday. Pastor Devlin was amazing. If you didn't hear about stuff going on in Jamaica, go back and you can rewatch that on our app. Go to the Abundant TV app, and it is actually the first in the on-demand, and such neat stuff that they're doing, that his ministry is doing. They are in Jamaica and 21 other countries. And of course, right now, helping out after Hurricane Melissa. And so check that out. It was our highest viewed morning break so far. We're 2 months into this, and it was neat. Pastor will be on with us again. We actually texted afterwards, and so we're going to be having Pastor on again in the near future. And thanks to Molly for hanging out with us, Molly Gomez. It's usually every other Monday with Molly. Unfortunately, because of news going on, and of course, Melissa and the hurricane in Jamaica, we wanted to have Pastor Devlin on and talk about that. Other stuff going on in the world today. Of course, we are saddened to hear the news of former Vice President Dick Cheney passing away. He was 84 years old. Cheney, of course, the vice president under GW, and sad to. And this was the interesting thing this morning that I was thinking about is Dick Cheney was around a long time, and I hate to tell you this, but I was young back then, and I thought he was old then. But Dick Cheney and of course his family, very proactive in the political world, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the Cheney family during this time. So much going on, and election day for a lot of you around the country is for us here in Ohio in certain it's nothing big here in Ohio, at least in our district, nothing huge going on, but it is election day, and I want to tell you, like I tell everybody every year, is go out and vote. Make sure that you get a chance to do that, and it's so important to vote and to do those kinds of things. So it is voting day. My wife and I are at some point today going to go vote and do our part. We've got some bond issues and city council issues. And city council is important, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, listen, every part of it is important. Today, by the way, National Candy Day. Now, it didn't say Candy Bar Day, and this is kind of an interesting thing. When I think of candy, I think of candy bars as part of candy. Not so, according to the folks at the National Candy Day. Candy Day different than that. It is not in the bar form, and I totally understand their stance on this. I was laughing about it when I was researching it this morning, but yes, they feel it's definitely different. Includes flavors like orange and all kinds of candies. Now, I got to ask you this, because we are into the holiday season. It's definitely that time of year that you're starting to decorate for Christmas. Do you remember the orange slices? I have to tell you, still my favorite. My wife gets them for me every year. We get ours at Menards because Menards has a ton of candies, which you go, Menards, aren't they home improvement? But they do. They've got candy all over the place. Speaking of, it is the season. If you're here in Ohio, which most of you aren't, but that's still, I want to share this joy of the moment. By the way, I'm going to talk about 7 Weeks Coffee in a minute, but one of the joys of this time of year as we head into November here in Ohio is chance of snow. Our first chance of snow, though it's not going to be much, is this Sunday. When you were a kid, wasn't that always exciting? By the way, the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee are one of our sponsors here on the morning break. 7 Weeks Coffee. Now, here's the deal. If you love coffee like I love coffee, and it's well documented not only here but on other shows that I do love to partake. Well, I participate in a caffeinated beverage at least 4 to 5 times a day. And I want to tell you that I have fallen in love with the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10. And listen, my wife, she's so smart. She came up with this idea when we first got in contact with the folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. And her idea was, Rob, I'm going to get you a variety pack. I said, honey, you don't really need to. I love dark roast coffee. That's my jam. And you don't need to get anything else. She said, Rob, I want you to try the different brands. Super smart idea. If you've never experienced a small batch roast coffee company like 7 Weeks Coffee, do yourself a favor. If you love coffee, check them out, 7weekscoffee.com. That's 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 when you order. That helps them know that they are a part of what we're doing here at, well, Abundant TV. And for those of you tuning in on social media right now, Abundant TV, the fastest growing Christian television network in the world. We are app driven, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. You can find all of those links at our website, abundanttv.com. And before I go to break, I want to tell you tonight, brand new show for the Rob and Kristen show, the show my wife and I do together. And it is going to be a really cool show. If you like author interviews, if you like hearing about Bible history, you want to check out tonight's show, 8 o'clock Eastern time on the Abundant app under the live stream. And we will be there. The show, of course, recorded in parts over the last few weeks. And people will say, you will notice in there, it was prior to me getting the chance to get back to my guy and getting my hair cut and colored. So there's a bit more gray in my hair during that segment, which is funny because the open and the close, we're done. But there's a gray in the middle, as we say. And listen, when we come back, we are so excited to have our special guest with us. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the morning break rolls on.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy, a life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
Like to thank the great folks, 7 Weeks Coffee, 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 when you order. So important to mention that. And we thank them, by the way, drinking their coffee today. What do you think? Isn't this just like the coolest? My wife gets me these mugs because we do the show Monday through Wednesday, 10:30 live on the Abundant app and, of course, across our social media. And I love these cups. I believe these cups are from Hobby Lobby. We'll talk more about Hobby Lobby coming up later in the show. Excited to have this guest today. I've been reading some stuff from her, Angela Eugene. It is great to have you on the morning. Bro, look at that smiling face. She's pumped to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, if all my guests look that good on a Tuesday morning, good to have you, Angela. How are you?
I am grateful, thankful to be here. Glad to see another day. So
amen. Amen. Hey, I want you to take time, and there might be people out there that don't know about you. Talk a little bit about who is Angela.
I am just a woman who loves the Lord. I kind of grew up in the church, but to be honest, I didn't find a real relationship with the Lord until after I had a little trouble in my marriage. And I was like, oh, I knew the language, I knew what to do, but it wasn't until I got down low and to the bottom. And I said, God, I need you. And that's how I really formed my relationship. I ran from a calling that I had because I don't want to talk in front of people. I'm okay being behind the scenes. But God was like, okay, you can stop running because I need to, someone needs to hear your voice. Someone needs to experience the gifts. I didn't just give you the gifts so that you can go bury them as the as the Bible says about the one guy. So that's who I am. I have a heart for women, the total family actually. I have a heart to see marriages stay together. It just seems like, society says, you can change, you get a new husband, get a wife, like you're changing your shirt or socks. No one wants to stay and put in the work. So I have a heart for that as well.
And that's kind of a part of what your ministry is, isn't it?
Yes,
It's
yes,
and it, besides, and I think I saw on your website about mentorship and all kinds of stuff that
yes,
you're
yes,
into. So
yes.
talk a little bit. Let's and I always like to kind of do this, um, because we never know who's watching, and that's always
Sure,
so important.
sure.
So let's say there's a lady or a gentleman watching right now, and he is what you just talked about. He's going through a point in his marriage
Mhm.
where he maybe feels like it's time for a change.
Yes,
And we know that, that isn't, there are times where obviously, I mean, we don't want to, people, if they're in an abusive relationship or something, we're not advocating for that.
sure.
So I want to be very clear when I say
Yes,
this, but a lot of times what you just said is we as Christians just get to a point we forget to say, God, what is your thought on this? So,
right.
so give some advice to a man or woman who's watching right now, maybe feels like they're at the end of their rope with their marriage.
So I would say that your spouse is not your enemy. The enemy would love for you to separate and throw in the towel. But I promise you, from someone who have experienced turmoil in their marriage, seventh year, where I thought the same thing, but I decided not to throw in the towel. My spouse decided not to throw in the towel. We decided to work at it, take our hands off. And if you just, the Lord, just allow him to work at it. But we have to, you got to put in the work and just trust God. Do the opposite, because yes, we want to run. Yes, it hurts. Yes, you feel hopeless or I don't want to do this. That's the easy way. But I would say put in the work, pray together, seek wise counsel, someone who can walk you through the journey.
And I think that I love the one thing you said, and it's so important as Christians that we should, and it should be a given. You know
Mhm.
what, Angela? I don't think it is as much a given as we think, and that is praying together.
Yes.
I think for my wife and I, and now we're on the early side, and it's a neat story, and I'll tell you sometime. But we've only been married just a little over 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, first marriage for both of us, super cool.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you. But I think the one thing that grounded us early on was praying together and really doing that. So like if you're in a situation, and Angela can speak to this better than I can because she's the expert in it much more than I am. Um, but maybe introduce that as the first thing. Say, hey, listen, we may
Yeah.
be agreeing on everything right now. And in fact, there are times where I just want to lock you in another room and not talk to you. But I,
Yes.
you introduce prayer as kind of that first thing.
Yes.
It's amazing when you pray with somebody how everything in your life kind of changes.
Yes, absolutely. And now I'll be honest with you. I've been married 33 years. This year in March past, we didn't kind of do that. We First of all, you have to be intentional about it. That's number one. But in the last, I would say 10 years, we get up in the morning and before we depart, we make sure that we have prayer. And we instilled that in our kids. Now, does that mean that it's still nothing? You won't have any encounter, any disagreement? No, that's not. But it kind of puts a shield around you. It kind of gives you peace to be able to start your day. Because prayer, I mean, prayer changes things. It helps you not to be anxious, and it helps you to be thankful. And it really does bring you two on one accord. So I definitely would encourage that as a part to start
So
off.
I want to lean into something that you said because I found it to be really interesting because a lot of us do this is that you ran from what you thought, what God had a calling for you. What was the moment where you said, okay, God, I'm going to submit to this, even though, and I think you and I are very similar. We
Mhm.
like to push other people out in front.
Yeah,
We like everybody else to be celebrated, and we're like,
sure.
I'm okay being in the back. I'm a pastor's kid, so we're
Sure.
always, celebrating other people. So when was that point? Kind of walk our viewers through that point where you went, "Hey, listen, God, I'm going to do this," and the feeling and the process you went through after that.
So I was talking to one of my mentors one day, and um, she said, "Well, I told her, I said, well, I'm already doing it. Like, I don't need titles. I don't need, to do anything, like I'm okay in the background." She was like, but you need to be covered. So you want your pastor, you want to acknowledge your gift. And so you don't know how many more doors can be open for you once you really acknowledge this is the gift, this is the calling that you have on your life. And then also realized that after that conversation with my mentor, and I prayed about it, and God had to convict me to say, your yes is for me, but do you realize your yes is connected to so many other people who need me? So if you don't give me your full yes, then how can these other people over here find me? Because you're making all these excuses. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was so repentant. Like, God, okay, I'll say yes, even though I'm doing it afraid, even though I'm fearful. I don't want to talk in front of people. I don't know what they're. So
Well, a
that's
lot of times, and I think this is true, is that for us, for you and I, because I already feel we're like we could be related.
yeah.
We have that same thing, and I think and this is something I'm walking through right now. So
Mhm.
with my calling and even doing, I fought Angela, I fought doing this show. I got to tell you, this idea, God put this idea in my heart a year and a half ago now. And
Mhm.
I went, well, I'm busy. My company, I'm very blessed. The company I own does Christian ministry. We help ministers get on television all across the
Wow.
world. So that's
Wow.
what I do. And so I was like, God, I did this for a season when I was younger, which was a long
Mhm.
time ago. And so I've been on television, so it wasn't like any of those things. But I will tell you this, and I think Angela will agree with me on this, is that when you say yes, it's like the light comes on in so many areas in your
Yeah.
life and you feel less stressed, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely,
I just so,
absolutely. It's like a weight being lifted, even though you don't have the full picture of, okay, okay, I said yes. Now, what does this really mean? So, but you allow God to just order your steps in it. So,
and I think my wife and I talked about this on a podcast that we do, is sometimes God doesn't need us to see the whole picture.
right.
Sometimes he's the light right in front of us just
Yes.
to take the next step.
Yes.
And because if we know too much, then it becomes, I can fix this or I can
Mhm.
do this, or so I
You
think that's
wouldn't need
very
him.
important. And it's just, so talk to me a little bit about, like, I know, kind of give everybody a little highlight of what your ministry is so that they can kind of relate, and give your website too.
Okay. So the website is www. The letter N as in Nancy, him, HIM as in Mary, rise, RISE.com. That's in him I rise. In him I rise.com. Did I say that right? In him,
You did. You got it.
EYERISE.com.
And if you're watching live, go to the on demand and we'll have a link so that you can
Great,
find it that way too.
great. So again, the Lord, when He originally gave me that ministry, it was called Women Rise. And then A few years in, he said, nope. I got assignments to speak into children, and then I got assignments. He brought me back to speaking in the premarital couples and the marital couples. So I said, okay, it's a platform for everybody. But my heart really is with mentorship. Where I didn't even know I was a mentor. I just took people under my wing and I spent time with them and I poured into them and walked alongside them and prayed with them. So that's what it's about. The acronym RISE stands for Refresh, Inspire, Support, and Encourage. And that's what I feel like my life's mission is. No matter if I'm meeting a male, a child, or whatever, I want to always leave an imprint from Christ, not myself, to refresh someone and to inspire somebody, to support and encourage someone. Because sometimes, especially living in the climate we live in, unprecedented times, people need hope. They need to be refreshed. They need to be inspired. They need to be supported and encouraged to know, God sees you, he hears you, and that this too is going to pass. So that's what it's about.
I love that. And I here's the thing, and if you're watching, you may say, well, I don't need a mentor. I'm, over 40. I will tell you that my first mentor, I was in my mid 30s before I found my first person. Now I have two guys that mentor me on a regular basis. And I want to tell people, and I want your opinion on this, but having a mentor is so important. It's having that bond with somebody who understands and who wants to sow into your life.
Yes. Yes. I think it's you need that, because it helps us to stay on the straight and narrow path, especially when you are making decisions spiritually, whether spiritually, mentally, emotionally. You want someone to say, wait, nope, don't do that. You're doing it the wrong way. And to be able to speak truth to you. And it's also helping you to grow. For me as a mentor, I not only pour, but I learn from my mentees as well. They've taught me something. I was like, God, what can I get out of what they, walking alongside them on their journey? And so it's been an awesome experience. And I don't look at the age. Matter of fact, I have a mentee now. She's a couple years older than me. And in my mind, I didn't ask her this, but I was like, is she sure she want me? Like, you have wisdom. But it's the way God designs it, and you can have different mentors too. You may have a mentor for business. You may have a mentor. It's just helpful to have someone to walk alongside you and to help you grow and keep you on the straight and narrow path.
So give everybody the website one more time before we have to go for this segment.
Sure. It's N as in Nancy, HIM as in Mary, EYE, rise.com.
Okay, so this is the thankful month. So it's this two-part question. First, tell me one thing you're thankful for right now.
I am thankful for my family. We're on one accord, and I'm seeing how some of my family members they now want to take interest in Christ.
Awesome.
So
that's awesome. Okay, and then the second one, which is not nearly as serious, your favorite food on Thanksgiving. What is the one thing that you go, gotta have this?
I have to have sweet potato pie.
Yeah.
Sweet potato pie.
So sweet potatoes are made. I don't know why we don't eat sweet potatoes more often. I gotta be honest, they're yummy. Of course, they're not healthy the way I like them. Any form of sweet potato the way I like it, it's definitely not healthy.
Right.
But it's so yummy. Thank you so much, Angela, for being with us today. You have been such a blessing, and you have the joy of the Lord in your face.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here, and may God bless you in what you and your wife are doing. May He continue to bless you and pour out blessings upon you.
Thank you so much. Hey, when we come back from the break are my final thoughts.
Social media today is noisy, divided, and too often hostile to Christian values. A place where truth is twisted and faith is often silenced. What if there was a place for believers where you could share your story, grow in your faith, and be encouraged every day? Introducing Acts Social, the #1 Christ-centered social platform built to unite Christians worldwide in truth, hope, and love. Share your faith openly. Discover powerful, uplifting content. Join prayer groups. Encourage others. Find news and events from a biblical worldview all in one place. And do it all free from big tech censorship, invasive tracking, and endless ads. Because the body of Christ was never meant to be scattered. It was meant to be together, every day, everywhere. ActsSocial.com, the fastest growing platform for Christ-centered connection. Join us and be part of something eternal.
Hey, thanks so much for Angela being with us on today's show. She's awesome. Check out her website. You can find it in the show links at the end of the live broadcast. Appreciate everybody who's been watching. We talked about Thanksgiving. Of course, you got to talk about Christmas. And kind of one of the big deals is the Google release of their top trending products for the holiday season, right? And there are a ton, most of which are electronic based. But I find it interesting. And this was the thing that I thought was kind of curious. And I don't know if we're seeing kind of a boomerang of everything electronic being like so hot. And now we're kind of in that list. There are several in the top 100 that are products that you would say are homemade. They're basically like small market stuff. It is just so neat to kind of see that go back. Now, when I was a kid, there were some times where I got products that were, gifts that were products that were homemade products or not homemade because of my mom and dad having careers that they had. They weren't homemade, but they were basically like local. And I think local is so important. And I wanted to stress that, by the way. Check out your weather forecast for your area. And I talked about it ahead of the break early in the show about the fact that there's a real chance we're going to get snow here in Ohio. Crazy thoughts. By the way, the Google thing, you can check that out. And it's interesting to see what's trending. And that's kind of how they're doing it. But what this made me think of is like when I was little, is that the JCPenney Wish book came out and Sears had one, and I don't remember what theirs was called. And we would look at the catalog. Now kids are searching Google. Crazy stuff. By the way, shout out to Midland, Michigan. New study came out today. Interesting study, AARP, and I forget who else was a part of it. That their places to retire, the number one place, Midland, Michigan, number one place in the United States to retire this year. Reason being, it's a whole bunch of factors. You'll have to go and look at it yourself. There's a ton of things, including the financial side, everything that goes with that. And it is, hey, Michigan's a great place. My wife and I love going up there. We go to several places in Michigan, but Mackinac, of course, being our favorite. Remember tonight, check out our brand new show on the app, the Abundant TV app. Go to Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. If you're watching on the app, remember to check in tonight on live. Kristen and I, it's Rob and Kristen show tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Wow. Where has the time gone? It has been just a great show today. And I've had fun getting a chance to talk to you as we do. That's what we do. We just sit here, hang out, have a great morning together, talk about fun stuff like where you're going to retire. I would not personally, if I'm moving someplace, not moving to Midland, Michigan. It's going to be cold there. And my wife and I talked about this, if we retire, probably not going to retire someplace cold, or if we're going to move. But anyway, that's it. Hey, listen, going to be a great show again tomorrow and Monday through Wednesday on the app and on social media at 10:30 a.m. It is the morning break. I'm Rob Patz.